They're leaning in.
Or what?
They're leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified
Yeah.
of some kind of backlash. I mean, you see with Disney now. I mean, Disney, one of the most gay-friendly companies that we've had in a very long time.
And Disney decided to hire the most insufferable girl boss narcissist that exists on Earth, who hates Snow White.
Movie companies are going to look at her and they're going to say box office poison. And a lot of this is due to her behavior leading up to the film's release.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
So with Snow White, let's go through this, right? There's no prince. Woman doesn't need a prince.
Oh, Lord.
Really? Okay, good
Shut
luck
up.
back then. He doesn't need a prince to save her, and not surrounded by 7 weird people. Oh, okay, just CGI fictional goblins, I guess.
To go out and badmouth everybody and talk smack about, older movies in the same franchise, the canon story, I guess?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I feel like they would have had better control over that.
This girl took the money and then decided that she wanted to go out there and, you know what, I'm going to take my stand. Well, you should have made that stand before you took the money to promote a film, because that's not in line with your job description.
Right. I think this is their policies coming back to bite them. They went woke.
Yeah.
She went out and said stuff woke that was going to hurt the film. They couldn't come out and go against her, because then you're going after somebody for saying what you say you believe. But at the same time, I think going forward, they're going to be like, hey, shut up.
Yeah.
Tight-lipped. Otherwise, guess what? We're clawing back some money.
Yeah. This would have been a lot better if they, had a strong male along with her.
Oh, look, Disney's at it again, waving their magic wand to reimagine a classic and expecting us all to clap like trained seals. Their 2025 live-action Snow White was supposed to be a dazzling tribute to the 1937 original, but instead, it's a flaming dumpster fire that makes you wonder, has Disney forgotten how to tell a story, or are they just trolling us now? From a lead actress who trashed the OG fairy tale to CGI dwarfs that look like rejected video game NPCs, this remake is a masterclass in how to alienate your audience and tank your brand. Buckle up, because this train wreck is too juicy to miss.
I think they could have done all that woke shit. You want to cut woke? They could have done all that still. And as long as she had gone out and been like, well, we just have a different story. I like the old story, but we're doing a different one this time.
You're probably right.
The backlash would have been 10 times.
Yes. You're probably right.
Let's set the scene. Disney's live-action remakes have been printing money for years. Think Lion King, Aladdin, billion-dollar vibes. So when they announced Snow White, fans were practically throwing rose petals, expecting that signature sparkle. Spoiler alert, the rose petals turned to Rotten Tomatoes faster than you can say bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. The first teaser hit, and the internet collectively gagged. By opening weekend, Snow White wasn't just a flop, it was a cultural crime scene. So what turned this fairy tale into a horror show? Let's start with the princess who forgot how to charm.
Jonah Platt, whose father helped produce the latest Snow White film, had some very harsh words for star Rachel Zegler.
For context, Variety wrote a report recently titled Inside Disney's Snow White Fiasco, Death Threats, Beefed Up Security, and a Social Media Guru for Rachel Zegler.
Enter Rachel Zegler, Disney's pick for Snow White. Talented? Sure. Tactful? Not so much. This rising star decided the best way to promote her big break was to dunk on the 1937 classic, calling it outdated, and scoffing at the idea of a prince saving anyone. Newsflash, Rachel, when you're starring in a remake, maybe don't spit on the legacy that got you the gig. Fans who grew up singing Someday My Prince Will Come were livid, flooding X with memes and rants. Disney, in their infinite wisdom, just stood there, letting Zegler's word vomit set the internet ablaze. But oh honey, that was just the appetizer.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Now, let's talk about the 7 dwarfs, or rather, the CGI abominations that replaced them. Disney, ever the trailblazer, decided the iconic crew was too problematic and swapped them for magical beings. Cue Peter Dinklage, Game of Thrones legend, calling out the original's dwarf portrayals as offensive. Fair point, but here's the kicker. The dwarfism community wasn't cheering. They were furious, pointing out that ditching real actors for digital placeholders stole rare roles from performers who could have shined. Disney tried to backpedal, promising a hybrid approach, but the final film? Just glossy, soulless CGI dwarfs that look like they wandered out of a budget mobile game. Way to miss the mark, guys, but the dwarfs weren't the only thing Disney butchered.
So even though woke in some sense feels like it's dead, it still has to run its course through the system. The ghosts have to get out of the machine, in essence.
Zegler's Snow White was supposed to be a bold, modern heroine. Instead, she's the kind of character who'd lecture you on empowerment while stealing your coffee. Gone is the gentle, kind-hearted princess who won hearts with her warmth. In her place, a smug, abrasive lead who feels like she's auditioning for a TED Talk, not a fairy tale. Fans on X were brutal, with some joking she was meaner than the evil queen. The 1937 Snow White made you root for her. This one makes you root for the poison apple. Disney thought they were giving us girl power, but they just gave us a headache, and the drama didn't stop at the script.
The controversies surrounding Disney's Snow White remake show that we are still in the thick of the culture wars. Oh, have we been following the Snow White?
Actually, the first time hearing of this.
Whispers of a feud between Zegler and Gal Gadot, the evil queen, turned this mess into a soap opera. Gadot was hyped as a major draw, Wonder Woman in a corset, who wouldn't be excited? But as the release neared, rumors swirled of clashes on set, creative differences, egos. Nobody's spilling the tea, but Disney's marketing suddenly sidelined Gadot, shoving Zegler front and center despite her toxic press. Fans smelled blood, speculating that the studio was trying to hide a PR nightmare. By the time the film dropped, the off-screen gossip was juicier than the plot itself. And speaking of that plot,
You'd think the most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarves want to work. And
Disney's big plan was to make Snow White relevant with a heavy dose of woke seasoning. Empowerment, diversity, all the buzzwords. Sounds great, right? Except it felt like a college lecture, not a fairy tale. The original Snow White was about love, hope, and a dash of magic, simple enough to charm kids and adults for decades. This remake? It's a checklist of modern ideals, crammed in so clumsily you can practically hear the corporate meetings behind it. Fans called it woke gone wild, and even progressive viewers cringed at the heavy-handed vibe. Disney wanted to please everyone and ended up pleasing no one. But wait, it gets uglier.
This is like an honest golden employment opportunity for dwarves.
There's not that many scripts that come down the pike.
No, it's 7 of them.
The visuals? Oh boy, Disney leaned so hard into CGI, you'd think they were making a tech demo, not a movie. The dwarfs, those lovable hand-drawn icons, are now digital blobs with all the personality of a loading screen. The Enchanted Forest looks like it was rendered on a gaming laptop. Fans missed the practical magic of old-school Disney, the kind that made you believe in talking animals. Instead, we got a sterile, over-polished mess that screams budget cuts, despite the $200 million price tag. Critics on X roasted it, saying it felt less like a film and more like a theme park VR ride. And the audience? They voted with their wallets.
I think it was Peter Dinklage said this is, this is not right. This is demeaning. And they were like, what? We just want to work. We're dwarves. So, ho, ho, ho. Anyway.
When Snow White hit theaters, it didn't just flop, it belly flopped into oblivion. Box office numbers were so bad, they made Mufasa's stampede look like a gentle jog. Online, the reviews were a bloodbath. Rotten Tomatoes drowned in one-star rants, with fans slamming everything from Zegler's attitude to the CGI atrocities. Even Jonah Platt, whose dad helped produce this disaster, threw shade at Zegler, calling her comments a slap to Disney's legacy. The negative buzz that started with a leaky teaser grew into a full-on tsunami, proving one thing: you don't mess with a classic and expect applause. So what's next for the Mouse House?
For Snow White, it's coming to terms with finding herself and finding her inner voice and finding a sense of agency so that she can be a just ruler and a wonderful queen, because there's another one in town.
This isn't just a bad movie, it's a neon warning sign for Disney. Their remake machine's been chugging along, but Snow White's crash landing has fans and analysts whispering, is the magic gone? Nostalgia's a goldmine, but only if you respect it. Fans aren't here for preachy reboots or CGI overhauls. They want the heart of the stories they grew up with. Disney's got a choice: dial back the bold new visions, or keep alienating the people who pay for their castles. Industry insiders are betting on a course correction, but with Disney, who knows, they might just double down and remake Bambi as a climate activist. Stranger things have happened.
Our primary purpose is to entertain, and where we can entertain responsibly, obviously we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world, but the first thing we need to do is entertain.
So here's the ugly truth. Disney took Snow White, a fairy tale that's been melting hearts for nearly a century, and turned it into a cautionary tale about hubris, bad PR, and CGI crimes. They bet on a snarky lead, a woke rewrite, and digital dwarfs, and lost spectacularly. As the box office dust settles, one question lingers like a curse. Can Disney rediscover the magic that made us all believe in fairy tales? Or are they doomed to keep churning out flops that make us wish for a magic mirror to unsee them? Don't hold your breath for a happy ending.